Howdy, friends. This is James, back again to discuss some things with you. Today, it's December 1st of 2020, first day of my birth month. And on this day, I'd like to discuss anxiety with each of you. I got a request to talk about this topic, and I want to give a shout out to my friend who asked for that. Anxiety. As with most, if not all of these things we're discussing here, I think we can relate to them. That's why they're so relatable and important to discuss, because they're things that we can all relate to. In varying degrees in our lives, we all experience anxiety. I know I do, and what to do with that? I think with most things, as it is, life is less about what happens to us, so much as it is about how we choose to react and, more importantly, respond to those things. And there definitely is a big difference, or can be a big difference, between our reactions and our responses. That reaction, that kind of knee-jerk reaction, if a big truck's coming toward us, or a dinosaur was coming toward us, in ancient times, reacting and moving quickly can be really good. If you're playing, in sports or something, reacting quickly, that's good too. But when it comes to our anxiety and our feelings, our emotions, things that may be overwhelming us or troubling us, I've found that the response is a much more valuable choice and thing to put toward that, rather than our reaction. Our initial reaction could be one to recoil, to be scared, to be angry, to be defensive, to push others away, or just be kind of nasty, without meaning to. Sometimes we can be kind of less than cordial to one another due to our anxiety. And that can lead to more anxiety, because then we beat ourselves up for that, and that can become quite the vicious circle. I guess also asking, as far as responding, to being able to think, to breathe, to slow things down, and realize that we have a choice, that once that anxiety has been triggered, that it's on us to figure out what we should best do with that, what would be the best course of action. And the reaction, sometimes is all right, but more times than not, that can be problematic. So the response, what do we do when that switch is flicked and our anxiety is triggered? What do we do when our triggers hit, when our buttons are pushed? And I found that slowing that down is the best course of action for me personally. It's done wonders in my life. It's helped me to make huge positive strides and changes in regard to how healthy I am and how happy I am and how less anxious I generally am. Like I said, I still suffer from anxiety like anyone else, but it's not the crippling force that it used to be. I'm not just walking around stressed out all the time and kind of shaky and rattly like I used to be. I'm pretty comfortable in my skin these days, and how I've learned to more healthily deal with and respond to my anxiety is a huge part of that. So, thinking of anxiety, thinking of things that also cause our anxiety, like typical stressors can be our jobs, stress at work, stress at home, stress being a parent, being a kid too, because your parents can stress the hell out of you as well. So it's important to keep in mind that each of us, whatever role we're playing, experience anxiety. We're triggered. Our anxieties are triggered by others, no matter who we are or what we do. And but to understand, that it's our responsibility how we handle and respond with those triggers and those anxieties once they surface. And I found that things that have really helped me to slow that down, like I'm talking about, mindfulness practice, meditation, probably more than anything. Well, anything next to my sobriety, because getting sober, quitting drinking, the last time I was drunk, was in 2002, and I was drinking myself to death. Like, there's no way to candy coat around it. I don't know that I would have lived to see 30 the way I was going. It was pretty bad, and if you wonder why I'm such kind of a space cadet and so forgetful and at times unreliable, not passing the buck on that, like to make an excuse for it, but part of that is I definitely have brain damage from the drinking that I did. Also the drug use, but for me more the the whiskey did more to kill brain cells and damage my brain and my body than any of the drugs I took. And I took a good amount of drugs, trust me. But getting rid of that and doing that, so much of my anxiety was stemmed from the withdrawals of that. It's ironic that things like drugs and alcohol and cigarettes and coffee, which I just switched to decaf coffee actually this within the last week for this very reason, because I had a mild anxiety attack last week, and I think it was from drinking coffee, which I just started to do this year in 2020. I've never been a coffee drinker, but I've been drinking coffee every day, and stronger the better. And I think that's what happened, is it just kind of whooped my ass. So I've decided to get rid of the coffee. Anyway, these things, like a lot of the things that we take to curb our anxieties or help us with them, ironically end up fueling them and making them worse in the long run. Because if you add whatever substance it is, whether it's alcohol, caffeine, nicotine, whatever drug that may help us to kind of mellow us out or help us keep us going through our day and work through our anxieties, typically when you take those away, those anxieties come back in droves, oftentimes much stronger and worse than they would have been otherwise. So it's kind of an irony that we all do as humans. We do things that aren't good for us in an attempt to do good for us. We're a strange creature. We're a very strange creature that way. But helping to remove those things are things that I've done that have helped. I'm not nearly as anxious as I used to be. And it's taken a lot of work. It still takes work. Past the sobriety, learning to meditate, mindfulness practice, just breathing techniques, which there's many ways you find the beauty of meditation is you find what works for you. You can focus on a certain mantra or a certain feeling. You can focus on not being anxious. You can focus on the idea of being calm, of being relaxed, being at peace. You can breathe in calm and peace and let out your anxiety. That can be, and I do that a lot, and it's very effective for me and many other people. That's a real good one. Getting some exercise, which I typically suck at, but if I go for a walk, playing shows too. I actually, even though I sit down when I'm playing my acoustic guitar, I get quite the cardiovascular workout just from singing, because I sing with a lot of oomph behind it and I hold the notes a long time. That's an incredible release. That's a form of exercise for me. And typically after I get done playing a set, I'm just like, whew, whatever. If something was bothering me, if something was upsetting me, or I was anxious or angry, just unsettled about something, typically I'm just about right as rain after I get done playing. So again, this being the pandemic time and the show's not happening, it's been a real tricky time, because I spoke of my addiction. I've joked about it, but I believe it's true that after quitting drinking, that's when all the really super hardcore incessant touring started happening with me. That's when I started playing, 200 to 300 shows a year, and just becoming a road dog maniac there for a while. And I was finding something else. That was a place. I was keeping my addictive tendency, the addictive traits of my personality busy with something that was far less detrimental to me than the booze or the drugs. So yeah, of course that helped. I reaped the benefits of that. Being able to do something constructive that I loved in excess, has done wonders to make me a happier person. So, that's been big. But yeah, the pandemic kind of took that away. So it's like, okay, now what? And the saying that everybody needs a crutch, to some degree that's true. We all have to find things that are good for us, something that can kind of help us. Each other, our activities, our hobbies, things we like to do, and one another as well, and ultimately ourselves, learning how to do that ourselves. And I think that's what I'm trying to kind of convey with this too, is that, more than anything, it's things that I've chosen to do, things that, like getting sober, embracing my mindfulness practice, learning how to slow down, learning these breathing techniques, going for a walk, just going outside. I'm a total nature nerd, and I love the rain too, so the weather doesn't stop me from that. Like, I love walking around in the rain. I'm the weirdo on the ferry or on the dock that will go out there when it's 30-degree weather and the rain is just blowing, whipping through you. I'll be standing out there, in a hoodie or a t-shirt, meditating with a smile on my face because I'm just a weirdo that way. It's invigorating to me, So I'm very fortunate that the weather can do that too. But yeah, doing these things for ourselves, finding things that help us to do that on our own, more than anything else, I think is the most valuable tool for me personally, anyway. Whatever works for sure, and I also can't. Seeing a therapist has been huge in my life. The therapist I saw before I left my job in 2007. He helped me to not only really find my way with my sobriety and keep going with that, but to get to a point where I realized that I could leave that job and do what I loved. That I could go play music for a living. Not really make much money, but still I could be really happy doing that. So it's like, I guess ultimately is finding those things we can do for ourselves, because sometimes we can't get a hold of the person, that we want to kind of help us figure it out, whether it's a close friend, our spouse, our boyfriend, our girlfriend, whatever. Maybe that person, people will leave the flesh before we do too. And that can be a real hard one. That can cause a lot of anxiety too. But knowing that we can do these things for ourselves to be happier and healthier, and kind of bring our anxiety down, and realize that that's a state of our being. It's a feeling. It's not who we are. It's just how we are at that moment. And there's a big difference from that, being able to separate ourselves from those states of being and those feelings, knowing that we are more than what we are thinking about, but that what we think about can be huge as to determining how we are, and in the long run, looking back, who we consider ourselves to be, Like I said, life's less about what happens to us. It's far more about how we choose to react and, more importantly, respond to it. Hopefully I haven't rambled too much. That's what I typically do. I just my goofy little brain just starts connecting the dots with this. So I hope I'm going to watch it, and if it doesn't seem too random and all over the place, I'll post it, and hopefully you'll get something from it. It can help you to navigate through your life and the things that you're dealing with, because I promise you, as different as each of us are, we're far more the same, and each of us are going through our own version of this stuff, anxiety, you name it. So again, you're not alone in that. Thanks for watching and subscribing if you do, and let's have and make a great day, friends.